The film opens with a Colombian cartel boss stepping off his private jet. Security surrounds him instantly, warned that today he'll be killed. The boss barely takes the threat seriously, trusting his heavy security. He climbs into his car as a long convoy trails behind him. Soon, he arrives at his luxurious mansion, staff waiting inside. He changes clothes and heads straight for the swimming pool. While he swims, guards watch closely from the surrounding balcony above. Underwater, he notices his own watch resting at the bottom. Confused, he dives down, wondering how it ended up there. Just as he reaches for it, someone grabs him violently. He struggles hard, but the man holds him under relentlessly. Eventually, the boss drowns, his body floating lifelessly in the water. The guards above assume he's simply enjoying a peaceful swim. Once they leave, the killer quietly surfaces and changes clothes. This man's name is Arthur, posing publicly as a car mechanic. In reality, Arthur is a professional contract killer for hire. Arthur slips away just as a maid discovers the body. Guards panic, sealing every door and searching the property immediately. They pull the boss from the pool, confirming he's dead. By then, Arthur has already vanished far from the scene. He leaps off a nearby bridge into the river below. A waiting boat carries him away, leaving no evidence behind. Back home, Arthur opens a hidden compartment filled with old photos. Every kill he's completed is meticulously researched beforehand, always looking accidental. Afterward, Arthur meets the man who hired him, a disabled man named Henry. Henry has mentored Arthur for years, treating him like a son. He taught Arthur every technique that made him a perfect killer. The two talk for a while before Henry pays him. Arthur takes the payment and drives off into the night. Days pass until Arthur receives a disturbing new contract. Looking at the target's photo, Arthur is horrified. It's Henry himself. He's told Henry betrayed his own people, causing 5 deaths in South Africa. Arthur refuses to believe it and calls his boss, Dean. Dean confirms it was he who ordered the contract on Henry. Arthur meets Dean in person, still doubting the accusation entirely. Dean insists only he and Henry knew about that mission. He's certain Henry's betrayal cost 5 operatives their lives. Dean says betrayal demands death, and Henry must be punished. He pushes Arthur to handle it personally, given their close bond. Reluctantly, Arthur calls Henry, warning him Dean's men are coming. Panicked, Henry follows Arthur's careful instructions to escape unnoticed. Arthur guides him to cut power and disable the security cameras. Henry sneaks down through the service route as instructed precisely. Arthur tells him to head straight for the basement, where a car waits. When Henry arrives, Arthur is standing there instead of a car. Henry smiles, immediately understanding exactly what's happening to him. He compliments Arthur's clever plan to fool his own security team. Henry asks if his death will look like an accident too. Arthur confirms it. He'll stage it as a botched robbery attempt. Henry even fires his own gun into his car for realism. He hands Arthur the weapon, refusing to fight for his life. Arthur asks why he won't try to kill him instead. Henry says more killers would simply follow, so it's better this way. He tells Arthur he'll regret this eventually, then accepts his fate. Arthur kills Henry, ending his mentor's life as instructed. The next day at Henry's grave, his son Steve mourns deeply. Arthur arrives too, genuinely grieving the man who shaped his life. Steve and Arthur already know each other through Henry's years of teaching. Steve asks for a ride home, and Arthur agrees immediately. Inside Steve's house, Arthur notices guns scattered across the table. Steve reveals his plan to avenge his father's murder personally. He intends to hunt down every thief in the city. Arthur grows quietly uneasy, knowing he's the real killer Steve seeks. Steve breaks down, cursing the cruelty of his father's murderer. Unstable with grief, Steve starts drinking heavily and firing guns indoors. One night he waits in his car, hoping to find a thief. A thief approaches, pulling a gun and demanding Steve's car. Steve cleverly disarms him, then beats him nearly to death. Just as Steve prepares to finish him off, Arthur intervenes. He stops Steve, insisting this man isn't his father's killer. Arthur warns him that blind revenge will only destroy his life. The next day, Steve apologizes but makes a bold new request. He wants Arthur to train him as a contract killer too. Steve argues Arthur owes this debt to Henry's memory and family. Arthur walks away without answering, though the words haunt him overnight. The next morning, Arthur agrees to train Steve after all. He takes him to a pet shop and buys a small puppy. Steve's first assignment is strange: sit daily at a specific cafe. He must order black coffee and wait by the window. Confused, Steve follows the odd instructions without understanding the purpose. Meanwhile, Arthur also begins training him extensively in marksmanship. After weeks of practice, Steve becomes a genuinely skilled shooter. Arthur explains that faking accidents requires precision and total discipline. Soon after, Arthur receives a new contract to eliminate someone. He brings Steve along to observe a real kill firsthand. The target is a smuggler who betrayed his own team. Arthur charms him with conversation before strangling him with a belt. He stages the death to look like a suicide by hanging. Watching this, Steve becomes deeply inspired by Arthur's flawless technique. Back at Arthur's house, Steve reaches for his prized record player. Arthur snaps at him, forbidding anyone from touching his favorite music. Then Arthur reveals Steve's actual first target, a photo waiting for him. Steve is shocked, recognizing the man from the cafe immediately. He finally understands why Arthur sent him there every single day. Arthur explains the man is a mafia boss with two weaknesses. He loves small puppies and is drawn to young men like Steve. The mob boss had already taken interest in Steve at the cafe. Arthur's plan is simple: get him drunk and poison his drink. He warns Steve never to physically fight this 7-foot-tall man. Steve follows the plan perfectly, until the crucial final moment. He hesitates, unable to poison the man's drink as planned. Instead, Steve gets into the man's car and goes to his home. Ignoring Arthur's explicit warning, Steve attacks the man directly instead. The massive mob boss overpowers him instantly, slamming him around brutally. Steve is thrown against walls, badly injured and clearly outmatched. Desperate, he grabs a loose screw and strikes repeatedly at the man. Eventually, Steve manages to kill the mafia boss through sheer persistence. Bloodied, he heads straight to Arthur's house afterward. Arthur is furious that Steve ignored his direct warning entirely. Still, he's secretly impressed that Steve survived and succeeded regardless. The next day, Dean calls Arthur, aware an outsider handled the job. He questions whether Steve knows Arthur killed his own father. Arthur realizes Dean has been watching them closely all along. Dean assigns a new contract promising a substantial payout for success. The target turns out to be a corrupt, drug-addicted priest. He's been scamming his followers while secretly abusing drugs himself. Arthur and Steve plan to sedate and poison him quietly. They sneak in through the ventilation system toward his private bedroom. Watching through a hidden camera, they discover his heavy drug habit. Realizing poison won't work on someone already that intoxicated, they improvise. Once guards step away, they break in through the window glass. The priest, paralyzed by drugs, watches helplessly as they enter. Together, they strangle him and quickly retreat behind the broken glass. A guard enters, assuming the priest simply overdosed on drugs. Just as they're about to escape cleanly, Steve drops a screw. The sound alerts the guards, sparking a sudden, violent gunfight. Arthur and Steve fight their way out, killing every guard. They flee to a nearby bus station to make their escape. There, Arthur spots a man he recognizes with total shock. This man supposedly died alongside 4 others in South Africa. Confronting him on the bus, Arthur demands to know how he's alive. The man reveals the entire South Africa mission was Dean's elaborate scheme. Dean paid him to kill his teammates and fake his own death. This let Dean frame Henry for the murders and seize control. Furious, the man suddenly attacks Arthur without warning. A brutal fight breaks out between them on the moving bus. Arthur ultimately throws him out the window into oncoming traffic. A passing car finishes the job, and Arthur walks away. At the river, Arthur senses something is dangerously wrong immediately. A black car arrives and armed men emerge to kill him. Dean has clearly learned that Arthur discovered the whole truth. Arthur hides underwater as the men search frantically for him. He emerges suddenly, taking them all down one by one. Escaping by boat, Arthur gets a call from a worried Steve. He realizes Steve is currently surrounded by Dean's hired men. Arthur calmly directs him to a hidden gun on the sofa. Steve grabs it and eliminates every threat in the room. Arthur arrives shortly after, confirming Dean sent the attackers himself. He tells Steve it's finally time to take down Dean. While gathering weapons, Steve discovers his father's old gun hidden nearby. He instantly realizes Arthur was the one who killed Henry. Steve says nothing, quietly pocketing the gun and hiding his discovery. As they drive toward Dean, Steve asks Arthur a personal question. Has he ever killed someone he genuinely cared about before? Arthur admits he has, and that regret followed him afterward. Steve grows emotional, tears quietly falling as they continue driving. They arrive at Dean's building and set their plan into motion. Arthur triggers the building's alarm, forcing Dean to flee outside. Steve blocks Dean's car from the front using a bus. Arthur eliminates the surrounding guards from behind simultaneously. Trapped, Dean has nowhere left to run or escape to. Arthur uses a crane to violently slam Dean's car down. As Dean tries crawling free, both men open fire together. Dean dies right there, finally paying for his betrayal and lies. Afterward, Arthur notices Steve behaving strangely different in the car. He spots his own gun, the one used to kill Henry, in Steve's jacket. Arthur realizes Steve has discovered the painful truth at last. He says nothing, quietly watching Steve's every move carefully. Steve suggests stopping for fuel, and Arthur agrees without suspicion. While filling the tank, Steve secretly spills gasoline beneath the car. He tells Arthur he's stepping away to buy cigarettes quickly. Arthur watches him through the mirror, sensing nothing unusual yet. Once at a safe distance, Steve fires a shot at the fuel. Arthur's car explodes violently, erupting into a massive fireball instantly. Believing Arthur is dead, Steve heads straight for his house. He defiantly plays the forbidden music Arthur once warned him against. He then starts Arthur's prized car, another rule he deliberately breaks. Inside, he finds a chilling note left on the seat. It warns that driving the car will cost him his life. Steve laughs it off, dismissing the warning entirely as a bluff. Moments later, the car explodes violently, killing Steve instantly. Back at Arthur's house, the music finally reaches its final note. A hidden bomb inside the stereo detonates, destroying the entire house. It's revealed Arthur had prepared every trap in advance himself. At the gas station, investigators review the earlier explosion's security footage. They discover the driver had already escaped before the car exploded. That man was Bishop Arthur, alive and completely unharmed. If you made it through this brutal tale of loyalty, betrayal, and revenge, you just watched one of the most twisted contract killer thrillers out there. Smash that like button if Arthur's final twist caught you completely off guard. Subscribe because we are breaking down every crime thriller you need to see. What movie should we recap next? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.